fundamentalists because everyone's too busy trying to push back against America. Anti-Generalized says, lol, it's obvious some Muslims hate Americans. Thank you for not generalizing, my friend. You know, remaining true to your actual username there. That's why he said some, motherfucker. That's why he said some. Okay. Okay, let's keep going. Even Americans hate America. Yeah. Automod for saying I hate Americans kicked W. I don't know what's going on with the fucking Automod boys. All right, now we're going to move on to ex-officer charged with manslaughter in the killing of Dante Wright.
Breaking news.
I'm going to take a break from the trial of Officer Derek Chauvin to bring you other important breaking news from a nearby suburb. CNN has now learned the former Brooklyn Center, Minnesota police officer Kim Potter is being charged in the killing of Dante Wright. Our CNN correspondent Adrian Broaddus is live from Brooklyn Center. Adrian, walk us through what we know.
Well, John, we know the Washington County prosecutor has told CNN he will charge that officer, Kim Potter, with second-degree manslaughter. Here in Minnesota, under the state statute, if someone is convicted of second-degree...
Oh, sorry. Before we move on to this, I got to run an ad. Fuck. Or I'm going to keep playing the video, but you already know what the deal is. If you no longer want to see ads, if you want to ad-free broadcasting experience, it is top of the hour. You can subscribe. You can do it for $5, or you can subscribe for free by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. Here's the ad now. I'm keeping the video going.
The penalty is no more than 10 years or a fine up to $20,000. For those of you who may just be tuning in, Potter is the officer who was once here with the Brooklyn Center Police Department for 26 years. She fired the shot that ended the life of 20-year-old Dante Wright. The former police chief here in Brooklyn Center told us she did not mean to fire that shot. She pulled her gun out instead of her taser. On that body cam video that was released soon after the incident occurred, you could hear the officer saying to Mr. Wright in the car, "I'm going to tase you. I'm going to..."
I think part of the reason why it's not a higher charge is because it would have been way harder to stick a higher charge there because of all the times where she like literally fucking clearly feels as though she is using a taser in the situation. I don't know if she genuinely wanted to act like she wanted to, I don't know if she genuinely wanted to kill a black person. I think the negligence there is that, and the fear there is that the person is black, and the reason for why why Dante Wright was stopped is literally DWB, okay? But ultimately the intent is going to be very difficult to prove in court, especially when there's a lot of evidence, at least, that will play out in the court of law as though she legitimately thought it was a taser.
To tase you, and then that was followed by taser.
Define DWB, driving while black. That's what I was saying. It's a lighthearted way to describe a horrific and tragic thing that occurs all the time, which is black people get fucking stopped for ridiculous shit when they're driving because people assume that they're suspicious. In this circumstance, was expired tags along with having air fresheners that was obstructing his view.
Taser, and yelling taser, taser, taser is what officers are supposed to do before they deploy.
So you want a higher charge that goes against the evidence? No, I want justice. And I think I'm not one to advocate for more draconian measures. I want justice. Someone's life was taken, and I want someone to feel the accountability of their actions in order for others to also recognize that they can't get away with murdering people and just say, oh, I thought it was a fucking taser. Okay? That's what I want. And I'm not saying eye for an eye. I don't want her to be murdered. I don't want her to fucking be in life and be in prison for life. So I'm not saying that at all. Okay, let's keep going.
Taser, but that did not happen. The family of Dante Wright has said they have a hard time accepting what happened to their son on Sunday was an accident. So again, breaking news at this hour, the Washington County attorney tells CNN he has filed second-degree manslaughter charges against Potter. Now, you may remember Officer Muhammad Noor was also charged with second-degree manslaughter. He was convicted in the case of Justine Damon. And right now, just
second-degree manslaughter, Fish, he was being negligent. There's no evidence she wanted to kill him. Yeah. I mean, same with Muhammad Noor.
10 miles away from where I am, Officer Derek Chauvin is on trial for the death of George Floyd. Chauvin was charged with second-degree manslaughter as well as second and third-degree murder. John?
She's probably still going to go to prison. Like, there is a likelihood that she might go to prison, just for the record. Muhammad Noor went for 12 years, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was like 12 and a half. Of course, the circumstances were a little different, i.e. Muhammad Noor was a green new officer, Muslim, Somalian descent, black. The victim in that circumstance, Justine Damon, was white, Australian immigrant. This person is literally a veteran, was played a leading role in the police union, and says multiple times that she thinks she has a taser in her fucking hands. So what? I doubt it. White woman kills black guy. Black guy was running. Not to belittle a racist act, yet had previously been in possession of an unregistered firearm and went into a vehicle. Dude, you are literally running a fucking line that you heard from someone that is still unjustifiable. And two, it's not even the fucking line that the police are using. You're literally fucking trying to do mental gymnastics for cops that have already given up on doing mental gymnastics. Okay? Don't look for additional reasons as to why a horrific action occurred when cops themselves are not even running that, and usually they literally will throw the book.
Adrian brought us for us live on the scene. We'll continue to get reaction as this plays out today, and let's get some important insights now from Laura Coates, the former federal prosecutor in our CNN.
Like, if your goal is to not come across as racist, then one thing you can do is stop trying to defend extrajudicious killings of non-violent and innocent black people, black kids, 20 fucking years old, in the hands of the state, which currently has a monopoly on violence, with a cop that played judge, jury, and executioner in that moment, which is completely against what America is theoretically supposed to be about, that other cops aren't even fucking defending. Like, it's the easiest way to not look like a fucking racist, not doing what you just did by saying, not to sound like a racist, but here is why I think this is a defensible thing.
Analyst and Cedric Alexander. He was the former president of the Black Law Enforcement Officers Association. Laura, let's start with you. It's a quick movement by the prosecutor. What do you make of this charge, second-degree manslaughter?
Well, based on what we learned from the now attempted to be resigned chief, this idea of accidental, this notion here is saying that culpable negligence is going to be the standard here. Now, what does that mean, culpable negligence? It means that you were grossly negligent and reckless in your behavior. You created an unreasonable risk that would lead to death or bodily harm. And so you've got this 10-year penalty as a ceiling of it. But on that notion, This is very early on in the prosecution's case now. It could be graduated.
They didn't even try to defend her, dude. It literally took one day for the cops to be like, no, it was an accident. Sorry. Like, there's just no way. She's going to take a plea deal. They're going to accelerate this through the court system as quickly as possible. She's probably going to fucking take a plea deal and get like, maybe not 10 years, but, because if that's the roof, probably get like, lower because of the plea deal. And then she'll be out on good behavior in like probably fucking 2. You know what I mean? Which ultimately still, trust me, which ultimately is still not the worst thing. Guys, I don't want vengeance. I want justice, okay? I do not want vengeance. I want justice. I want a cop like that to be off the streets and not to be a police officer anymore. I want a cop like that to fucking rehabilitate, okay? I'm sorry. Like, this is always my point of view. It's the accountability that police officers have never fucking seen that is leading there's the leading cause of why they are so brutal and get away with it, because they think they can get away with it. How, like, I already literally said what I think is just, and this motherfucker's still like, what do you think is justice? 20 years? No, I'm not saying that.
To a higher charge, there is always a chance it could
2
be
years in jail is not just for killing a person. It doesn't matter how many years the jail sentence is, as long as there is accountability and as long as that person can rehabilitate. Okay? Yeah, no, just fucking no, yeah, just murder him, dude. I mean, they murdered someone, so murder him back. That's the way that you can fucking do justice then.
reduced. I don't see how it would be reduced, but it always could go up. Remember, Adrian just spoke about one of the officers in the past, Mohammed Noor, charged with one crime and added on the 3rd degree. Same thing with Derek Chauvin. But it's all about whether or not this prosecution is going to be able to prove that this officer created an unreasonable risk.
Why are you posturing so neutrally on terms for punishment in this case? She was a Trump supporter and a union leader. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize that if someone is a Trump supporter and a union leader, we should murder them. I'm not posturing neutrally. I'm having a consistent position on what I believe the criminal justice system should do. Okay? I'm not posturing neutrally on this at all. Like, I find it really fucking idiotic, dude. It absolutely sucks. Her going to jail for 20 years is not going to change anything. You know that, right? Her going to jail for 20 years, 30 years, or her getting fucking capital punishment is not going to change anything. Dante is not going to come back to life. So what you have to do in that situation is figure out what the best future for as many people as possible is.
You reached for, believing it was a taser, and accidentally, purportedly got your gun. Was that reasonable for you to make that mistake? Was it reasonable for the period of time that you held the service weapon in your arm not to know that it was actually a taser? Was it reasonable as well to even fire and deploy the taser, believing, of course, it was a taser, and ultimately being the gun?
Would be a deterrent, maybe? Dude, how do you not recognize when you literally say it would be a deterrent for throwing the book at her, for other cops from doing crime in the future? You're literally fucking repeating like pro-carceral state talking points that have been launched against black people and brown people and poor people in general since the beginning of time, okay? Additional sentences are not a successful deterrence measure. It's not. If that was the case, then America would be fucking crime-free. We house 25% of the fucking caged people on this planet. Okay?
All of this goes under that same umbrella, and interestingly enough, it tracks what's happening with Derek Chauvin right now.
So let her go free? That's what I said, right? I said let her go free, right? That's what I said. No, I didn't say that. Shut the fuck up.
It's one of the charges he's now facing. But again, Culpable negligence, John, is gross negligence with recklessness. And that is going to be the key to solving this particular indictment and having a conviction.
And Cedric, we've talked about the issue of police training, especially for veteran officers throughout the Chauvin trial. Now in this case, former Officer Potter, she resigned yesterday, a 26-year veteran of the force. These are dicey situations, but the argument put forward by the now resigned police chief was this was an accident. Walk us through how an officer has a handgun and a taser and how they're supposed to understand and how they're trained to have that key distinction.
Well, certainly she's been around long enough and been there since the inception of tasers when they were introduced a number of years ago, assumingly there at their department as well. So there's a rigor of training that you go through from weak side to strong side, where your service weapon is always on your strong side. What occurred here in this case is very difficult and hard to understand for the common layperson. And certainly for many police officers, it's hard to understand. Can it happen? Can it be an accident? Maybe it can under certain stressful situations, but the question becomes, is that why was a service revolver a service weapon pulled? And in addition to that, why would it even be necessary to deploy a taser as well? So those are going to become the questions. I'm certainly going to be interested in how this case is going to evolve in listening to, at some point, the argument on the part of that officer and what was going through her mind, what was she experiencing. But for someone that's a 26-year veteran, and for this to occur, and however it occurred, you had someone to lose their life unnecessarily. And that becomes a real issue because there's a real gross negligence here that has taken place. So it'll have its day in court. But again, she'll have her day in court, yes, but not the person who lost their life.
Right, 20-year-old Dante Wright, a parent. 20-year-old Dante Wright is the person who lost his life in this episode. And Laura, walk through a little bit more what you just discussed, because I think it's important how cases can evolve.
You know what I know? Well, you know what I think personally would be accountability for this? Okay? Using the murder of Dante Wright is a changing moment. Okay? Aside from the officer going to jail, obviously, like facing some kind of punishment, still, and stopping her, preventing her from being a fucking cop, obviously, and training others in the same way that she has already. Getting officers to changing the rules of engagement and forcing officers to fucking engage in de-escalation measures rather than escalating every single fucking altercation where there's a minor traffic stop into bloody fucking murder. That would be accountability. Changing the structures would actually be positive accountability, and it would honor what happened, the horrific thing that happened to Dante Wright. So you're moving from defund to reform? I'm not moving on shit, dude. I'm not moving on anything. I'm just talking about what could happen here, okay? Defunding the police does not mean abolish the fucking police. Defunding the police literally means like demilitarize the police. A part of defunding the police is literally about demilitarizing the police. Changing the rules of engagement. Making sure that regular traffic stops do not have a heavily armed fucking police officers. I think this is like a child, right? This person keeps saying like sus is sus. Among Us. Okay, no, never mind. This is literally white replacement theory Tucker Carlson talked about, and then goes Among Us, mogus, pepela, sus, Among Us. Like, how the fuck do you go from this is literally white replacement theory Tucker Carlson talked about to like operating like a fucking juicer in the chat? That's how just every average chatter is in here.
Obviously, because of the unrest in the community, because of the history in the community, and perhaps even because of the proximity to Minneapolis. And we know the Chauvin trial is underway just 10 miles away. The prosecutors clearly made a decision here to act quickly to make clear that they were going to bring charges. But as you note, the investigation will continue and that can evolve. Walk through how that process works.
Well, you know, when you first become aware of an actual charge or an
So
arrest of somebody,
juicer.
prosecutors routinely will make a decision about the nature of the arrest and whether it fits with a particular crime, whether they can satisfy those elements. But it is not exhaustive. We're only 2 days after, unfortunately, the killing of young Dante Wright. And so this might be the floor for the charges against this particular officer and not the ceiling. And oftentimes, as you develop the case, as you learn more information, you might increase those particular charges. One way of doing so is if you learn additional information about the statements of the officer, about the state of mind, whether this was actually an accident. All we have to go by right now is that police chief who made the comment that he believed it was accidental. And we have the video where the officer says, "Oh, expletive, I shot him." Well, that statement perhaps could be interpreted as her believing that she made a mistake, or it could be the realization that it actually had happened, or the statement of taser, taser, taser could undercut any statement that it's intentional.
How many changing moments do we need for something to actually happen with police reform? I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm just saying what could happen that would try to at least start correcting, right the wrongs of the past.
And so all of this is going to be weighed right now. But remember, this is also an opportunity for officers and the defense counsel, for any defendant potentially, to talk about pleas. Because the longer and further into an investigation you get, the less likely you are to get a favorable plea offer. You want to get it close in time. Now, I'm not advocating.
Why not say demilitarize the police if you don't actually want to abolish them? Oh, I mean, some people say abolish the police. But you should ask the question to people who are police abolitionists, like, why they still believe that there should be some sort of like regulatory body, like an organization, maybe members of the community, maybe members that are democratically elected, but still some community force that engages in the act of policing to maintain a presence of law and order. Democratically elected or democratically voted upon laws and follow that up with democratically elected members that will do that. But there's still always going to be a need for a regulatory force that's kind of at the heart of living in, and I hate to say this because everyone's going to make fun of me, but living in a society. If you cohabitate, you are going to need to have some rules and regulation, and those rules and regulation could be literally fucking voted upon by a direct democratic process, if you will, to abolish nearly every single fucking unjust hierarchy. But ultimately, there will still be need for a force of individuals that govern, and a force of individuals that will still need to maintain a presence of law and order. I think the history of the police and their specific interest of defending capital at the cost of people is why it's better to abolish them than rebuild from the ground up. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that police, on the other hand, have historically always been a force that has been there to protect and serve the interests of capital rather than the interests of the people that they are supposed to protect and serve. But that does not change the reality. There still has to be fucking a group of individuals that, one, maintain a presence of law and order, and two, fucking solve crimes and shit. Like, that's always going to be there, and even apprehend people sometimes when it's necessary. Sometimes I feel like you haven't actually talked to many abolitionists. They advocate for exactly what you're talking about. Wait, is that why I always start by my statement by saying this is what abolitionists believe as well? Because I haven't talked to many abolitionists, and that's why I say this is what abolitionists even believe. Even abolitionists believe that there is still a necessity for some regulatory force. You're telling me that I'm clearly communicating some of the takes of abolitionists while stating that I don't understand what they're mentioning. Anyway, don't fucking @chatters every time I call them out, okay? Jesus Christ.
advocating for her to be able to plead out. But this is a reality in all cases that prosecutors bring. But remember, one thing interesting in Minnesota, John, that needs to be talked about in terms of police accountability is what are the consequences? You have a 10-year penalty maximum sentence and or a fine. It might not even get to that if she's convicted of that particular crime. It might be a lesser prison sentence, if at all. But then what about things like a pension? Most officers in different jurisdictions may contemplate whether to resign or be fired and think about the consequences of, say, a conviction. Well, Minnesota is unique in many ways, and one of the ways they have been unique is that they do not have a...
Is this a joke? I'm a peanut farmer. The sheriff has caught 4 people on my land. Can you tell me anything you're saying about abolition has anything to do with me? What? I can't tell if that's like a joke or something. It has to be, right? What the fuck?
A garnishment or a forfeiture of pensions for police officers, even in the event of a conviction. And so that might factor into why you choose to resign or otherwise. And this may be something that will come up later on. It might be one of the reasons why the mayor is reluctant to accept the resignation of the officer. But again, this is tracking in a very eerie way the Derek Chauvin trial, because jurors right now in that same county are trying to grapple with a charge of second-degree manslaughter, whether Derek Chauvin created an unreasonable risk that caused the death of George Floyd. Same question now being asked of now resigned Kim Potter against what happened to Dante Wright.
No more policing.
Shapiro weighs in on the Dante Wright shooting. I think there's like imagery from the actual fucking event. Yeah, there's body camera footage in this one. I don't even know if I want to watch Ben Shabibo on this, to be honest, but I would rather... I kind of want to go into Bernie Madoff. I'm gonna skip. I'm gonna skip Ben Shabibo and go straight into Bernie Madoff, boys.
His name synonymous with fraud. In 2009, Bernie Madoff pleaded guilty to what is likely the largest financial scam in history. The one-time Wizard of Wall Street ran a $65 billion scheme.
Wall Street fraud who masterminded the largest Ponzi scheme in history is going to spend the rest of his life behind bars.
Wall Street's biggest swindler ever, now behind bars.
A classic Ponzi scheme, Madoff used new investors' money to pay back the old ones. It was fronted through Bernard L. Madoff Investment Securities, the Wall Street firm he founded in 1960 and ran until his arrest in December 2008. Madoff's victims ranged from celebrities like Kevin Bacon, Kira Sedgwick, former talk show host Larry King, and the owner of the Mets. They were international banks, companies, charities, and thousands of individual investors. Born Bernard Lawrence Madoff, he grew up in Queens, New York, and graduated from Hofstra University on Long Island. He started his small trading firm when he was 22 years old with $5,000 he saved from summer jobs and a loan from his father-in-law. And by the late 1980s, Madoff was one of the highest-paid people on Wall Street, living in a penthouse on Manhattan's Upper East Side, buying yachts, cars, vacation homes, and country club memberships. By the 90s, he'd made a name for himself delivering consistent, better-than-average returns for his exclusive clients. Concerns about Madoff's business practices surfaced as early as 1999, when financial analyst Harry Markopolos complained to the Securities and Exchange Commission, but his warnings went nowhere.
I gift-wrapped and delivered the largest Ponzi scheme in history to them, and somehow they couldn't be bothered to conduct a thorough and proper investigation.
Madoff's lies began to unravel in 2008 when the financial crisis triggered investors to make withdrawals from his fund. Madoff was unable to find new investors to pay off the old ones. On December 10th, 2008, he told his sons, who worked in his firm as traders, that the investment fund was one big lie.
I don't know who.
In an interview with 60 Minutes, his wife Ruth described the
Bro, they made this motherfucker the president, dude. Like, it's wild. No confidence lost in the marketplace, baby. Shit's still popping off.
moment he confessed.
I was kind of paralyzed.
What do we think, chat? Did his sons know?
Bernie got up and said, I'm going back to the office.
Was he emotional in any way?
Like
I
always.
don't remember that either.
You
must
did,
have
right?
been.
I remember. No. From the jump.
Apologetic in any way?
Probably, yes.
Madoff's son, Mark, hanged himself on the second anniversary of his father's arrest. His other son, Andrew, died of cancer 4 years later. For his crimes, Madoff was sentenced to 150 years in federal prison.
I know one of his sons killed himself. I know. I watched the fucking... Wasn't it Robert De Niro for HBO? That was actually pretty good. That was... I didn't pre-watch it. I just know what happened in this like high-profile case, guys. I think it was Robert De Niro, right? That motherfuckers be like, I can't believe you pre-watched History, dude. Like, yeah, I just, I didn't personally see it happen at the time. I didn't really give a shit at the time, but
Even from behind bars, he insisted he did no harm.
Did people lose profits that they thought they made? Yes, but did they lose capital? I'm sure, I'm confident that when this thing is all finished, very few people, if any, will lose.
I've said this before. I've used this example many times, but like Bernie Madoff didn't get popped because he fucking stole, okay? He got popped because he stole from the rich. You can't steal from the wealthy, okay? And this motherfucker was indiscriminate, okay? I mean, he stole from like Elie Wiesel and shit, okay? He was like beloved figures, okay? He was just like, oh, don't give a shit. Give me your money. Like, he fucked with rich people's bag. And if you fuck with rich people's bag, you get fucked. That's just always going to be the case. Can you explain what he did? A Ponzi scheme. What he did was basically show incredible returns on investment by taking money from people and then paying them back like insane amounts of money, making it seem like he was by getting other money from other people, by making it seem like he was the most successful fucking investor on the block. He literally just took money from other people that kept funneling more money into it because they wanted to make more money, and basically paid off people whenever they asked for it. And kept it going that way. He fucked with my non-rich grandmother's bag too, just to preempt any possible Robin Hood interpretation folks might have. Oh yeah, no. He of course stole from the poor as well. Come on, that's a given though. Everybody steals from the poor. Everybody steals from the poor. He stole from the wealthy as well. That's the reason why he got fucked.
Their principal.
A quarter of the stolen money has not been returned to investors.
CNN's chief business correspondent, Christine Romans. She's covered this scandal from the beginning. She's back with me. You've covered this extensively. Enormous repercussions of this for his own family, certainly, but many thousands of investors who lost a lot. Tell us what we know about the circumstances of his death.
It's such a sad and tragic story. He died at 82 years old. The Bureau of Prisons tells us he was in Butner, North Carolina, serving a sentence of 150 years. A couple of years ago, recently he had asked, to be.
Yeah, the biggest reason why he got popped, by the way, I mean, who knows when this could have ended, right? But the biggest reason was that there was a lot of fears. A 2008 market crash is happening, and people wanted to pull their fucking money out. People were already skeptical because they were saying, like, there's no way. There is no fucking way that this dude is making this much money. Like, there's no fucking way. It, like, doesn't make sense. But ultimately, the reason why he got caught was because too many people wanted to pull out at the same time. And he wasn't able to, he wasn't able to get away with it. Do you try to use capitalism cheat codes? No. The problem is capitalism has a lot of cheat codes for wealthy people. It's built into the system. The problem is, again, and I can't stress this enough, he stole from rich people. That's why he went to prison for 150 years.
To be let out because he was near end-stage renal failure. Now we have the COVID.
Sad story. I didn't say fucking sad. I think It's completely warranted. I wish we treated all financial criminals like we treated Bernie Madoff, but we don't.
We're told he died of natural causes.
But 150 years is cruel and unusual.
The life of this man, just stunning, the extent of the deceit and the lies.
Oh,
Going
she
back
said,
maybe
yeah.
to the beginning of his career in the mid-1970s, he styled himself as the Wizard of Wall Street, but really his name is synonymous with fraud, and the biggest fraud we've ever seen. The Ponzi scheme that he perfected here, just so widespread. And
he tried to get out of prison, stating COVID as a reason, but they were like, nope.
brought in people like Kevin Bacon and Kira Sedgwick and our former colleague Larry King and many, many others who invested money with him and got a steady, dependable 8 to 10% return. And then when they would draw out of those accounts, he would get new clients to pay out. So there never was an account. He had made up out of thin air these accounts for people, and everything went along. I mean, there was big demand to have Bernie Madoff manage your money until 2008, the financial crisis, Jim, remember? And some of these clients started asking to pull out their money to cover losses elsewhere, and he didn't have the money. The whole thing went up in smoke. Really sad, too. One of his sons died of cancer. Another one took his.
She's like saying it's really sad while like kind of doing that fake anchor smile. It's so weird. God, news media is so strange, dude. It's kind of sad. His son killed himself. Like, what the fuck? Lady, what are you saying to me right now?
Life. So it's a family tragedy. It's a tragedy for all of those victims, thousands of them who lost money, and we're building a retirement that didn't even exist.
It was another big lie. People believed it.
Yep.
They lost their futures as a result of it.
Yep,
Enormous
and now
impact.
he's gone.
Now he's gone. Christine Romans, thanks very much.
Where's Kamala Harris? Tommy Lauren visits the border, calls out the vice president. Well, as you know, the main job of the VP is to sit at the border and, like, you know, play goalkeeper. So obviously it's understandable that, Tommy Lauren is agitated that she's not there. Dude, so our Super Bowl approach, our hyper-capitalist, profit-driven, ratings-motivated Super Bowl approach to, like, actual fucking devastating acts of cruelty that the American empire engages in is so ridiculous. And the way that our news media covers it is even more ridiculous. Holy shit. Look at this. Biden's border crisis. You know. They need to do a recap episode, dude. I can't keep up with all the things that are happening.
A border town in Arizona is under a state of emergency due to the migrant surge. Tommy Lahren met with the mayor of Gila Bend, who is blaming the Biden administration for sending migrants to his town by bus.
I've never had drops here before, never during the Trump administration, never even during the Obama-Biden administration. I never had drops here. Now I'm seeing Border Patrol bring people here and just drop them off. It's 30 miles to the next town over open desert. You're going to walk people across that desert at 120 degrees, you're going to find a lot of bodies.
But again, they're saying that this is not unprecedented. This has happened before. You're telling me this has not happened.
This is a crisis. I don't want to play politics, but this is a crisis, pure and simple.
Tommy joins us now with more. Good morning to you, Tommy.
Good morning. Yeah, you know, it's amazing when you actually go to.
Yeah, dude, you guys know that the best way to solve this crisis is by literally fucking, murdering some of the immigrants so that the other immigrants are so scared that they're going to get murdered if they get caught, so they don't even make the trek. American innovation always revolves around killing or fucking over brown people. It's great. Okay? The only way to stop, the women's oppression in Afghanistan is by doing the oppression yourself and, drone striking. And the only way to stop the immigration crisis from happening at the border is by, making an example of a couple people. Just put a couple heads on spikes, dude. I mean, seriously. That's the way to do it.
To these towns and you actually speak to these mayors and you speak to these landowners, they're telling you that this is a crisis and they feel largely ignored. But, Kamala Harris, she hasn't gone down. She hasn't done what I've done. But I can tell you after spending a couple days with these folks, it is a crisis. It is unprecedented and something needs to be done.
So what kinds of stories, what'd you hear from these ranchers down there?
You know, I spoke to one rancher, and people that live in border towns, especially ranchers in border towns, they're used to having illegal immigrants and migrants come across their property. But what they're seeing right now is unprecedented, because those that are coming across, they're coming across brazenly. They're coming across feeling as though they've been invited. You know, some of the things that they're finding and in some of the people that they're coming in contact with, these are people that are unapologetic about why they're coming over. They feel it's their right to come over. They feel that they've been invited.
I mean, it's literally their, it is. Like, it is. They have a right to come over and seek asylum. It's kind of what they're allowed to do and kind of what they should do, really. Also kind of at the heart of, like, you know, the American idea, you know, land of the free, home of the brave, all that sort of stuff, you know? But, I don't know. I don't know why you get so mad about this.
It's not going to stop anytime soon. You couple the halt and border wall construction with the messaging coming from the Biden administration, the gaps, the 5-mile gaps that this one rancher in particular is having to deal with, and you add in all those other policies like taking away Remain in Mexico, and you've got the perfect storm for a whole lot of problems down at the border.
We have a clip of one of
She was down there but didn't interview or document any of the people she's talking about? Yeah, no shit. Why would she do that? They're not humans, okay? In the eyes of Fox News, they literally, it would do them a disservice if they actually fucking humanize. Anne. No, olur. Sorry. No, my mom was screaming in the kitchen at my dad. I mean, they were just having fun, but they were like really loud, and I couldn't hear myself think. Okay. Again, what I was trying to say here is that the point here that Tommy Lauren is trying to make is that these are, you know, faceless, lifeless things, organisms that are coming in, like cancerous organisms that are coming in to destroy American sovereignty. So if you actually put a fucking microphone into one and humanize these actual human beings that are looking to better their lives by coming into America, then, you know, that's going to serve the opposite purpose of what she's trying to do, which is racial agitation.
the ranchers you talked to in Nogales. Listen to this.
We find this quite often, and the carpet booties are used to conceal the footprints, make it harder for the agents to track.
Because then they'll kind of scuff out their own tracks.
This is an example of a carpet booty, and it fits over their shoes. Everybody that's coming across is dressed in camouflage.
These are sold as well on the other side of the border, and these are like manufactured for people.
Tommy, are they seeing more people on their property than they used to?
Again, it's like this is not a this is the reason why this isn't portrayed as like, you know, human beings looking for a better future, but instead like, you know, mischievous devilish creatures that are that have made an economy out of like sneaking into America, is because they want to get you to be outraged. Okay, they want to try to get you to be angry at the otherwise law-abiding abuela who's fucking crossing the border because she doesn't want to be fucking murdered. Okay? Hold on. Holy shit.
They are, and you know, beyond that, I want people to understand that this rancher and other ranchers there, this is his livelihood. He's had his property set on fire. He has his fences cut on a daily basis, having to go and repair them. When you've got a ranch that's thousands and thousands of acres, and you're having to spend your time going and repairing fence and wiring because illegals are cutting it on a daily basis, they're sabotaging your water supply, they're lighting fires. I mean, this is something that they are dealing with on a daily basis, and normally they would be able to call Border Patrol, and they would have more of an opportunity to discuss.
Yeah, they're coming in to fucking destroy like land that ranchers are using to graze. You know what I mean? Like, that's what they're doing. Motherfucker, why would they do that? Destroying water supplies. You know what destroys natural water supplies? You dumb fuck. Fracking, okay? Not fucking random immigrants that are trying to seek asylum. What the fuck? Like, oh, they're doing this. They're coming in to sabotage the water supply. No, bitch. Those ranchers literally fucking, for the longest time in a state like Texas, even way back during the Bracero program, Those rancher dipshits were literally pro-Mexican labor, okay? These motherfuckers used to fight cops and fight like whatever form of ICE that existed at the time because they recognized the importance of Latin American labor as a way to continue the American economy during World War I and World War II. Those ranchers used to fucking literally fight cops. A lot of them are still probably pro undocumented labor. Let's be real. It's so funny to make it seem like, you know, marginalized people that have been oppressed, that are fleeing like violence from their homes are coming in like these cartoonish villains with a monocle and like a fucking bicycle mustache, and they're like, hey, I cannot wait to destroy the water supply of Texas. That is why I, Umberto, have decided to come to the United States of America. I don't know why he has a transatlantic accent. You know what I mean? Haha! I like to do evil shit. Just for the sake of being evil. I absolutely hate America. I hate the American ranchers. I want to destroy their water supply. I want to destroy the land that their animals graze on. Haha!
These things with Border Patrol and have a response, but Border Patrol has been sent now to these processing and detention centers to deal with the unaccompanied minors.
Listen, if undocumented immigrants wanted to destroy Texas infrastructure, they would vote Republican, okay? All they need to do is literally vote Republican, and some of them do. So, you know, like, Texas is doing plenty on its own to destroy its own infrastructure, brother. All right? You don't need like fucking you don't need people coming in and trying to grief one by one individually, okay? A good way to dismantle the system is by just, you know, straight up advocating for reactionary politics like Tommy Lauren is doing, so.
Minors coming through, so they're not able to respond like they used to. They're really being overworked. Their resources are limited, and now ranchers like this are really concerned because they've got a Halton border wall, which was doing a lot of the work before, and they felt like maybe that would kind of solve some of these problems. But now they're left completely exposed. They shouldn't have to be dealing with this. The Biden administration needs to answer for this. These are people's livelihoods, and I want people to also understand the ranchers over on the Mexican side, they also want border wall. They also want good policies because right now they're having smugglers and cartel using their property as a go-between, and they don't want that either. These are people that are living and working, their livelihood is at stake. So this is indeed a crisis for so many.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. Thank you so much, Tommy. No interruption. It's on Fox Nation. You'll have to.
Yo, Azan, didn't you debate this? No, I did not debate her. I was not able to. Women detail drug use. Okay, I don't want to do more Matt Gaetz, honestly. Police visit a person who criticized AOC on Twitter. Let's take a look at that. And then maybe we'll do a Jubilee video too as well. But let's see.
Rogan experience.
The Joe Rogan experience
do you know the story
is
about this guy who is a liberal journalist who...
Do they have sources of increased drug mules coming into America? Of course not. 94% of fucking drug trafficking occurs at regular ports of entry, okay? That's CBP numbers, by the way. I didn't make that up. I didn't get that from some liberal George Soros-backed think tank. That's literally just CBP numbers, okay? Customs and Border Patrol numbers show that 94% of drugs trafficked into the United States traffic through regular ports of entry. It's not fucking people crossing the border.
What did he do? He agreed with someone that said something. He liked something about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Alexandria.
And the police came to his house. Did you hear this story?
I did.
Let me guess. I know what the story is, okay? Tying this back to AOC is psychotic. Like, someone writes inflammatory statements about a congressperson that does not warrant police, cops coming in and fucking knocking on their door at all. But unfortunately, America's a police state. That's a psychotic story in and of itself. But like, the fact that some people are just like, oh, this is AOC's fault is so stupid, dude.
Pull his story up because it's so crazy.
Crazy.
That you go, this can't be real.
And here
now,
we are.
I don't think that it's AOC who's doing this. It's probably some fucking nutty AOC reporter or supporter rather. Police visit the home of podcaster after he criticized AOC on Twitter. So pull up the story because this is so crazy. This is like
so crazy
communist China type shit.
It's so crazy that I feel like there has to be more to it when I heard about it the other night, but
no,
I mean,
it's not.
yeah,
For the record, it's literally not communist China type shit. It is actually illegal to threaten motherfucking members of Congress, okay? So technically it's, communist America type shit, I guess, because you can't do that. Sorry, that's just literally the fucking truth. You might have an argument against it. I do. I certainly think it's fucking ridiculous to engage in any sort of police action of this magnitude. The reason why they probably are like on high alert with regards to AOC is because she does get a lot of legitimate, incredible death threats. So that's probably the reason why. But, to say this is communist China type shit is kind of weird because it's literally a communist America.
Please scroll down so I can read this. Here it goes. No. So I can read that.
Oh
tweet.
yeah, it's about that interview that she had, which was.
See, yeah, the interview was fucking insane.
Oh my gosh,
and so ridiculous. On April 1st, AOC did a live stream with Michael Miller, the head of the Jewish Community Relations Council of New York. She was asked about peace between Israelis and Palestinians. Her response was incredibly underwhelming, to say the very least. Now, if you
that guy didn't even threaten her, by the way. Oh, no, I know. I was gonna say like it's completely preposterous that the fucking cop showed up at her, this person's doorstep. By the way. Do not mistake my take on this. It's ridiculous.
Listen to her response. She's unprepared. She doesn't really have a thing to say about this, so she basically just sort of uses word salad, and it's a nonsense answer.
Yeah,
okay, go back down. Go back right there. I'm really shaken up right now. So the guy puts this thing saying it's underwhelming. He puts it up on Twitter. I'm really shaken right now. This is the next tweet. I was just visited by 2 plainclothes police officers.
Who are you defending? You seem psychotic. What? Who am I defending? I'm not defending the police, if that's what you're asking. It's pretty obvious that I think that it is fucking insane that cops literally approach this person at all in any capacity for tweets that weren't even like inflammatory at all against AOC. I think it's disgusting that the California State Troopers or the California Highway Patrol, basically, the California State Police went and fucking knocked on this person's door and like pretty much scared the shit out of him. It was psychotic. But to tie it back to AOC as though like AOC personally fucking asked police to investigate this matter and like go and find random Twitter podcaster is also insane.
From California Highway Patrol at my home. They said they came here on behalf of the Capitol Police and accused me of threatening AOC on Twitter yesterday. This is provably false. So you go back up to what we just saw. Yeah. So this is all he said. Her response was incredibly underwhelming, to say the very least. So someone decided that what he's... Now, the reason being is, I'm sure... This is some sort of a supporter of AOC that contacted the Capitol Hill Police and probably lied. But the fact that they could just come to your fucking house without any proof that it's not like he's saying this lady deserves to die, she must be stopped, we have to stop. None of that. Underwhelming, to say the least, which is a very mild criticism.
It is, especially if you watch that interview. The guy's face is classic.
I don't buy it. CHP don't make house calls. They're Highway Patrol. It's just the California State Police, brother. Like, unless you think they're literally just bike cops, like you saw on a fucking, like your parents saw in, on TV. It's just California Highway Patrol is California State Police. I don't buy it, brother. They're always on bikes.
Classic, though. The guy interviewing, it's just like he can't believe what she's saying. It's classic if you watch his facial expressions. But this is what happens.
We should play it just so people understand because it's really a ridiculous answer.
It is.
But it's the kind of answer you give when you're in 7th grade and you're doing like the teacher asks you a question about a book report and you didn't really read the book.
Exactly
the book
what it
is
was.
about Columbus, and this it was so important that Columbus was here, because without Columbus, there was so many things that would not have happened. You know, what Columbus did was brave and amazing. You know, it's really
that's
like
exactly what it is. And now you have to be careful. They might be showing up at your house tonight. They might be at the studio when we walk out of here.
I don't think AOC does. I really don't. I think it's a crazy person that thinks that. This is just my opinion. I think it was most likely a crazy person that is angry at this guy for not towing the liberal line.
Yeah.
Because he's a liberal journalist or a podcaster.
That's the interesting thing.
Oh no! Oh no! You got. Oh no! When you have a hammer and sickle on your fucking. Oh no, dude! When you're literally a communist and you get called a liberal by Joe Rogan, that's so bad. Oh no! I mean, it's Joe Rogan. Everyone's a liberal. I don't get it. It's just liberal or something. I don't know. It says queer in their profile, so obviously they must be like a lib or something. So bad. Oh, Jesus Christ. What an embarrassingly bad segment of journalism. Joe Rogan, you botched my entire story. Call me a liberal, then proceeded to punch left. I'm a communist next time. Don't use my story to push your idiotic baby brain agenda. How pathetic. Oh, that's so bad. So what is the where's the original tweet? Because I think this person was like asking, I don't know what their pronouns are, by the way, so I don't see it anywhere here. So I'm just gonna try to be as gender neutral as possible. But I think like originally when they were tweeting, as it turns out, they didn't even go to him over his own tweet. It was a reply to this. It was a reply to his tweet. So I was harassed and interrogated by state security forces because of a reply to my tweet. I can't control replies. This is some next level bullshit. 100%, by the way. I am full blown, fully on their side with this, with respect to what happened. It's fucking ridiculous. Okay, libtard commie. Okay, fully. I think it's fucking ridiculous that even if it's their tweet, it's still ridiculous. Like, because they didn't tweet anything that was terrible. Like, they just straight up said it was like underwhelming. Okay, like they didn't say anything that was bad. They didn't say anything about AOC that was bad at all. I would go so far as to here's the original tweet with the video. Oh, here it is. On April 1st, AOC did a live stream with Michael Miller, the head of the Jewish Community Relations Council in New York. She was asked about peace between Israelis and Palestinians. Her response was incredibly underwhelming, to say the least. I haven't even seen this video. I'm going to go ahead and assume, judging by AOC's track record on like Israel-Palestine and what she has said on this issue, I'm going to go ahead and say underwhelming is something I have said in the past as well about AOC's point of view. Let's watch it, actually. I want to see this.
What actions do you think can be taken to support
California Highway Patrol? Please don't come to my house. I do think this is underwhelming.
Movements towards,
or maybe it's not underwhelming. We'll see.
Peace, both between Israelis and Palestinians, as well as within the entire region, such as the Abraham Accords.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, you know, earlier just now, you and I were talking about the what and the how.
Yes.
And I think that when we talk about establishing peace, centering people's humanities, protecting people's rights, it's...
Sorry. Before I said the U word, underwhelming, I got to run an ad. So California Highway Patrol, if you're on your way and you want to, uninterrupted broadcast experience, all you need to do is subscribe. You could do it for $5, California Highway Patrol. You can do it for $5. You get you one subscription and an uninterrupted broadcast experience, the opportunity to send me links and shit in the chat. Or you could do it for free, as a matter of fact. You can have your wife's boyfriend's Amazon account. You can have that Amazon account and connect that to your Twitch account. That will allow you to have one free Prime Gaming or Twitch Gaming or whatever the fuck it's called now, Twitch Prime, that you can use on your favorite broadcaster. Since you want this uninterrupted take, you probably should do it for me. Here's the ad break now. Yes, I am now officially funded by the California Highway Patrol. Here it is. 1 minute ad break now.
It's not just about the what and the end goal, which often gets a lot of focus. But I actually think it's much more about the how and the way that we are coming together and how we interpret that what and how we act in the actions that we take to get to that what. And so what this really is about is that it's a question more than anything else about process. And so we really need to make sure that that we are valuing a process where all parties are respected and have, a lot of equal opportunity to really make sure that we are negotiating good faith, et cetera. That being said, I think that there's just this one central issue.
Okay, there was literally no reason to watch this thing.
Of settlements, because if the what that has been decided on is to state, then the action of settlements it's not